Just thought I'd share this one out. It's just about what is it, 14, 15 minute long. Just a video I was going to play. Yeah. I thought it was very interesting. Just thought I'd share this. Some very poignant points in this one little bit. Thought I'd share it with you guys. Let me just make that public. So yeah, I was just listening to a bit of John Cleese on creativity and management. I'm not showing the full video. I'm just where I took it for one point. It was very interesting what he had to say. Like, I'll just see if anyone comes on. Might as well do them anyway. You can always catch it up later. Here's one person there. Sorry, here's one viewer. Don't know who it is yet. There's three, so you can see me now. All right, you may. I think you'll find this interesting, and it's it's explains it. I think it explains this very well, mate. You know, and keeps it with humour as well. To realise, keep you interested. You'll say. So anyway, it's a bit of John Cleese, like not interested in the people, you know. Again, it's nothing about the people, it's just the words that I'm saying that, oh, sugar, I'll stop that. So I'll show it with the sound as well. It's the words I'm only interested in, what it's saying to make you think, to spark curiosity.
Now, the next factor, number 4, is confidence. When you're in your space-time oasis, getting into the open mode, nothing will stop you being creative so effectively as the fear of making a mistake. Now, if you think about play, you'll see why. True play is experiment. What happens if I do this? What would happen if we did that? What if? The very essence of playfulness is an openness to anything that may happen, a feeling that whatever happens, it's okay. So you cannot be playful if you're frightened that moving in some direction will be wrong, something you shouldn't have done. I mean, you're either free to play or you're not. As Alan Watts puts it, you can't be spontaneous within reason. So you've got to risk saying things that are silly and illogical and wrong. And the best way to get the confidence to do that is to know that while you're being creative, nothing is wrong. There's no such thing as a mistake, and any drivel may lead to the breakthrough.
There's never a stupid question. That's one main thing I keep saying.
And now, the last factor, the 5th, humour. Well, I happen to think the main evolutionary significance of humour is that it gets us from the closed mode to the open mode quicker than anything else. I think we all know that laughter brings relaxation and that humour makes us playful, yet how many times have important discussions been held where really original and creative ideas were desperately needed to solve important problems, but where humour was taboo because the subject being discussed was so serious? This attitude seems to me to stem from a very basic misunderstanding of the difference between serious and solemn. Now, I suggest to you that a group of us could be sitting around after dinner discussing matters that were extremely serious, like the education of our children or our marriages or the meaning of life, and I'm not talking about the film, and we could be laughing, and that would not make what we were discussing one bit less serious.
And that's the other side to it. That's the other side to it. Major point there. You know, people take things because what it is, it's the heat of the moment, isn't it? When people are in those discussions, you know, they let themselves get carried away. You know, keep the humour there as well. Keep smiling.
Solemnity, on the other hand, I mean, I don't know what it's for. I mean, what is the point of it? The two most beautiful memorial services that I've ever attended both had a lot of humor, and it somehow freed us all and made the services inspiring and cathartic. With solemnity, it serves pomposity, and the self-important always know at some level of their consciousness that their egotism is going to be punctured by humor. That's why they see it as a threat, and so dishonestly pretend that their deficiency makes their views more substantial, when it only makes them feel bigger. No, humor is an essential part of spontaneity, an essential part of playfulness, an essential part of the creativity that we need to solve problems, no matter how serious they may be. So, when you set up a space-time oasis, giggle all you want. And there, ladies and gentlemen, are the 5 factors which you can arrange to make your lives more creative. Space, time, confidence, and Lord Jeffrey Archer. So, now you know how to get into the open mode. The only other requirement is that you keep your mind gently round the subject you're pondering. Your daydream, of course, but you just keep bringing your mind back, just like with meditation. Because, and this is the extraordinary thing about creativity, if you just keep your mind resting against the subject in a friendly but persistent way, sooner or later, you will get a reward from your unconscious. Probably in the shower later, or at breakfast the next morning, but suddenly you are rewarded. Out of the blue, a new thought mysteriously appears. If you've put in the pondering time first.
For the epiphany.
So, how many Cecil Parkinsons does it take to change a light bulb? Answer 2, 1 to screw it in, 1 to screw it up. How many account executives does it take to screw in a light bulb? Answer, can I get back to you on that? How many how many Yugoslav, how many Dutch, I'm out of jokes. Oh, one thing. Looking at you all reminds me, I think it's easy to be creative if you've got other people to play with. I always find that if 2 or more of us throw ideas backwards and forwards, I get to more interesting and original places than I could ever have got to on my own. But there is a danger, a real danger, if there's one person around you who makes you feel defensive, you lose the confidence to play, and it's goodbye creativity. So always make sure your play friends are people that you like and trust. And never say anything to squash them either. Never say no or wrong or I don't like that. Always be positive and build on what's been said. Would it be even better if? I don't quite understand that. Can you just explain it again? Go on. What if? Let's pretend. Try to establish as free an atmosphere as possible. And you know, sometimes I wonder if the success of the Japanese isn't partly due to their instinctive understanding of how to use groups creatively. You know, Westerners are often amazed at the unstructured nature of Japanese meetings. But maybe it's just that very lack of structure, that absence of time pressure, that frees them to solve problems so creatively. And how clever of the Japanese sometimes to plan that unstructuredness by, for example, insisting that the first people to give their views are the most junior, so that they can speak freely without the possibility of contradicting what's already been said by somebody more important.
Beautiful.
4 minutes left. How many Irish... Oh, sorry. Well, look, the very last thing that I can say about creativity is this. It's like humor. In a joke, the laugh comes at a moment when you connect 2 different frameworks of reference in a new way. Example, There's the old story about a woman doing a survey into sexual attitudes who stops an airline pilot and asks him, amongst other things, when he last had sexual intercourse. He replies, 1958. Now, knowing airline pilots, the researcher is surprised and queries this. Well, says the pilot, it's only 21:10 now. We laugh, eventually. At the moment of contact between two frameworks of reference, the way we express what year it is in the 24-hour clock. Now, having an idea, a new idea, is exactly the same thing. It's connecting two hitherto separate ideas in a way that generates new meaning. Now, connecting different ideas isn't difficult. You can connect cheese with motorcycles, or moral courage with light green, or bananas with international cooperation. You can get any computer to make 1 billion random connections for you. But these new connections or juxtapositions are significant only if they generate new meaning, right? So as you play, you can deliberately try inventing these random juxtapositions and then use your intuition to tell you whether any of them seem to have significance for you. That's the bit the computer can't do. It can produce millions of new connections, but it can't tell which one of them smells interesting. And, of course, you'll produce some juxtapositions which are absolutely ridiculous, absurd. Good for you. Because Edward de Bono, who invented the notion of lateral thinking, specifically suggests in his book Poe, Beyond Yes and No, that you can try loosening up your assumptions by playing with deliberately crazy connections. He calls such absurd ideas intermediate impossibles. And he points out that the use of an intermediate impossible is completely contrary to ordinary logical thinking, in which you have to be right at each stage. It doesn't matter if the intermediate impossible is right or absurd. It can nevertheless be used as a stepping stone to another idea that is right. Another example of how, when you're playing, nothing is wrong. So, to summarize, if you really don't know how to start, or if you've got stuck, start generating random connections and allow your intuition to tell you if one might lead somewhere interesting. Well, that really is all I can tell you that won't help you to be creative. Everything. And now, in the 2 minutes left, I can come to the important part, and that is how to stop your subordinates becoming creative too, which is the real threat. Because believe me...
This is class, mate. Because this basically what he's going to say now is going to tell you exactly what's going on. And the reason why bad will never rule, because the bad will never allow anybody else, to be creative. They'll stop everyone from being able to think for themselves. They don't want anyone to think for themselves. They only wanted to educate or indoctrinate, whichever you want to call it, or instruct you how to know how to be told what to do, not to be able to tell yourself. Anyway, I'll let you. He creams it. He nails it here.
No one appreciates better than I do what trouble creative people are, and how they stop decisive, hard-nosed bastards like us from running businesses efficiently. I mean, we all know, we encourage someone to be creative. The next thing is they're rocking the boat, coming up with ideas and asking us questions. Now, if we don't nip this kind of thing in the bud, we'll have to start justifying our decisions by reasoned argument and sharing information, the concealment of which gives us considerable advantages in our power struggles. So, here's how to stamp out creativity in the rest of the organization and get a bit of respect going. 1, allow subordinates no humor. It threatens your self-importance, especially your omniscience. Treat all humor as frivolous or subversive. Because subversive is, of course, what humor will be in your setup, as it's the only way that people can express their opposition. Since if they express it openly, you're down on them like a ton of bricks. So let's get this clear. Blame humor for the resistance that your way of working creates. Then you don't have to blame your way of working. This is important. And I mean that solemnly. Your dignity is no laughing matter. Second, keeping ourselves feeling irreplaceable involves cutting everybody else down to size. So don't miss an opportunity to undermine your employees' confidence. A perfect opportunity comes when you're reviewing work that they've done. Use your authority to zero in immediately on all the things you can find wrong. Never, never balance the negatives with positives. Only criticize, just as your school teachers did. Always remember, praise makes people uppity. Third, demand that people should always be actively doing things. If you catch anybody pondering, accuse them of laziness and or indecision. This is to starve employees of thinking time, because that leads to creativity and insurrection. So, demand urgency at all time, use lots of fighting talk and war analogies, and establish a permanent atmosphere of stress, of breathless anxiety and crisis. In a phrase, keep that mode closed.
COVID.
Now, in this way, we no-nonsense types can be sure that the tiny, microscopic quantity of creativity in our organization will all be ours. But let your vigilance slip for one moment and you could find yourself surrounded by happy, enthusiastic and creative people whom you might never be able completely to control ever again. So be careful.
Bingo.
Thank you and good night.
Bingo. Nailed it. Absolutely nailed it. That's exactly what's going down, mate. That's exactly what's going down. Yeah. They can only do what they're doing by us arguing, and you know, we should all be getting on. And that's the thing. Everyone's got their way, my way, and all this lot. Well, you know, if you've got ways, then let's sit down and beat it out around the table and enjoy it to get to the solution, to whether or not it's a solution. A solution is a solution. There's multiple solutions to a problem, isn't there? Number one is obviously, you know, understanding the problem never existed in the first place, because the problem was just the lack of knowledge, wasn't it? So that's the problem. That's what we've all been faced, because they've kept the knowledge from us, and they've got us doing everything but seeing what was right in front of our eyes. But it's all there, plain and simple. Just had us under some form of hypnosis, because they had us thinking about other things instead of what's right in front of us faces. Yeah. So the creativity side of it is, you know, the point of those moments of inspiration. What is it like saying? Like, you know, it's like saying, you know, if you're struggling on something, just put it down for a minute. You know, don't give up on it. Just put it down, and something will just pop in your head. Those are moments of epiphanies, and whatever it was that you were struggling on, now you can see the light again. Anyway, so I just thought I'd share that one. I hope you enjoyed that one as well. I shared that other one earlier on, which was about the court cases, you know, and I think it's very important on those situations, because we need something that, you know, the normal person, the normal lay person that's not or that's just starting on this journey of coming into, you know, wanting to understand the facts, you know, because the courts are affecting everybody. I think everyone understands that now. You know, this has been used to, you know, come and steal everything off the people, and that's what they're doing. I mean, but they're doing it unlawfully. You know, that's the point. They're doing it unlawfully, and you know, they're only doing it because people are allowing it. You know, it's like, say, with the people that are paying the fines. If you're paying the fines and you're paying the tax, you think, well, that money's going to it. What it's actually going to, and what you're actually doing, just by, never mind, forget the money, just by actually being with them, being connected to it. You know, as though it's got some form of authority, because the government does not have any authority over you, the man or woman, because you have no contract with that corporation. They're trying to call you a corporation. They're trying to call you a person. No, you're not a person. You're a man or a woman. But if you're going to answer to the person, you're still, you're not in your mind. You're not back in your mind because you're not the person. And this is the deception. And once you start seeing the different deceptions, now you can start to say that you don't allow yourself to be deceived. If you get my drift. So, and the same with, because I was like saying the other day, it makes perfect logic to me. I might as well talk it now as not, because I'm just going to sit and think about it anyway. But it makes total obviousness to me. We can, like the Baron's done, say it's all null and void, they're all criminal. But as you know, there is two sides to even the government, if the government had any, or if there was, it actually was, because the shadow government. But even if there was some form of government, then there'd be that would be the de jure government, so to say, in the de jure jurisdiction. But there's still no contract, unless you've got a contract with that side of it. There's no contract with the fictional or that side, in the sense. But they're trying to, the other side, they're trying to, the trick was why you're not realizing what who you were and who you were not. The difference between what because there are corporations. Like for like, a corporation can only talk to a corporation. So they made a corporation for you, whether you know it or not. They made a legal embodiment. That is so that they could contact you, because they're the corporations. They're trying to contract with you. And this thing that they created is yours to take back, so it's not in there. That's what the Baron basically was saying. Is like, look, there was no, it's all done and dusted, because you are no governments, because there are no, it's been proven, because they're all corporations, on the basis of an unrebutted, an unrebutted affidavit, statement, statement of truth and a statement of fact, affidavit of truth and statement of fact, unrebutted to the fact that obviously, therefore, there is no government. Therefore, there are corporations, and corporations can only contract with corporations. Hence why they're calling you the all caps name all the time. Well, that all caps corporation, you can say there's no contract with that. Sorry, mate, that's nothing to do with any. I'm not in any part of that. There was no meeting the minds. There was nothing, no understanding of it at all. However, you could also say, if you was to just dish it, come away from it, come as the Baron, like the Baron, a free man, and obliterate it, and just say none of you have got any authority, or say anything that's nothing. It means nothing. It could also, at the same time, be said that obviously that there is something there. We wouldn't be doing this if there wasn't something there. It's not just a trick on accepting it. The thing was about controlling it, because it was the child, wasn't it? It was about reaching the age of maturity. So reaching the age of maturity says what? You either say, no, it doesn't exist, no thank you, goodbye, I'm a man now, free from all your nonsense, or take control of it. Create a corporation, create your own corporation. Now, if they want to contract you, now they've got to come through your corporation. You are now the director. So they're not coming for you direct, because you're now a limited company. That's who they're now coming to. That way, you still get to contract in their venue with your corporation. And likewise, you can also be heard because you're a corporation that's speaking to a corporation that you're the director of. So now you can be heard, because remember, like for like, these can't contract with a man. Man contracts with man, and corporation contracts with corporation, not man with corporation. Man can create the corporation and be the director, an owner, but he can't be the corporation. You can't be the corporation. When you've got a company, that's what you've created. That's now you're speaking in their world. You're in the private. But your public conveyance is through your corporation. but your private is you're in the private, because only law matters to you. The legals only matter to the corporation, remember, because it's all the corporations that are enforcing the legals. So the legals can only apply to your corporation, not to you, the man. Two different things. So when you understand that that's what their game is, you know, you can either be like the Baron and say, jog on, monkey boy, there's no contract. I've never signed no consent to be governed, and nor is the 63.5 back then, but 67 million, whatever it is now. Nobody's ever signed a contract to give their consent to be governed. So there can't be any governed. So it's nothing. Nobody in England, Wales, Scotland, or no man or woman that's walking the streets, yeah, are governed. They just don't know that they're not governed because they don't know that they've signed or not signed, and that they needed to sign or not needed to sign. They don't know. They just don't know. And that's why they can be done, because they can be fooled, because they don't know. But if they did know, then they wouldn't be fooled, would they? If they did know that they couldn't speak to you, they're only speaking to your corporation, you'd know damn well that if you're going to let them speak to a corporation, be it one that's you're in control of, one that you can speak for, because you're going to either be the Attorney General, or it's Baron David Ward's, the Baron David of the House of Ward was the Attorney General over his legal embodiment, which was the corporation. Bingo. So that's what he'd done. Whether that be understood as a corporation or not, it's immaterial. In their world, yeah, what did they say to the Mr. Baron David Ward corporation, the Mr. Baron David Ward? What did the corporation say to his corporation? No contest. No contest. And you can say what you want in that, but that's it, game over. That means there's no consent ever been given by myself, by the Baron, by you, and 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 you. None of you out there ever gave your consent. So if you've not given your consent, then anything that's being enforced on you is done unlawfully. And by them actually doing it, it's malfeasance in office. So, there you go, guys. But here's a crime. Yeah, but the trouble is, guys, yeah, what is it? They're also the enforcement, aren't they? So the point is, how do we get to enforce it? Well, you've got to enforce yourself in what you know was true and stay on the point. Till somebody with clean hands, the one with clean hands and a clean mind to express it, is going to be clean, because they can't challenge you, because you're hitting them with the facts. You're hitting them with the facts because it's not you that's making the claim, remember. And whoever makes the claim carries the burden of proof. So all you're doing is the challenge. It's very simple to challenge a lie, isn't it? Because you don't have to prove it. They do. They're the ones that are saying it. There's a court case. That's a lie. Sorry, I don't believe you. I'm challenging you. Produce me the case management file, because I want to see this court sealed application. I want to see the information, the affidavit that claims that this person wishes to bring I to court, and let me see the filing fee, the receipt for the filing, or the form, fee remission fee application form that must be attached to this. That's attached to this case management file, because that is the only way you're going to prove to me that it's a court case. Because it ain't a court case unless it's got that. That's like saying, here's a cup of coffee, but it's got no coffee or sugar in it. So it's sorry, mate, that's just a cup of hot water. Okay, that's a cup of hot water. If it's a coffee, mate, there'll be coffee in there, mucker. Don't tell me it's a court case and it ain't got a casement file, because that ain't a court case. Just the same way as a coffee ain't a coffee without a coffee in it. Simple. Kiss. There's another thing about the deception. It's a kiss. Kiss is spelt in all capitals. You know what a kiss is? A kiss it's not in all capitals is that's a kiss, right? Kiss in all capitals stands for keep it simple, stupid, and that's the point. So everybody that's been written into the all capitals, they're writing in the all capitals. You're only educated in English, All you out there, you know, who even think you're literate, you know, who think you're literate, think you're very well up on language. Mark my words, you know, you do understand these things, but anything written in all capitals, if they're claiming it to be in English, is an acronym. So when they write to Andrew Devine, what does Andrew Devine stand for? There's an acronym. When KISS stands for Keep It Simple, Stupid, and AWOL stands for Absent Without Leave. So when they're writing to you in all that cap's name, you've got to be made certain to what language it's in. You can't read it because you don't know what the anagram of what your name is. And that's who they're writing to in all caps. And if it's not that, I mean, as the Royal Courts of Justice said, is if there's any errors on a page, it's null and void. So that's the other point. I mean, then you've got it coming through they're coming through the post, they're coming through the postal routes, yeah, and they're not even writing anything on the letter, on the envelope. Nothing's written on the envelope. They're putting these little plastic square boxes on the screen so that they can put a letter inside it with your name and with your corporation's name and address on it, so that you can see through the box, because you're not visually understanding the fact that you can't see anything inside that box because of the four-corner ruling. And they've not broken any rules or regulations because they haven't written anything on the envelope. So they didn't write anything on there. You were stupid enough to see through it because you was too clever for your own good. You thought you could read it when you couldn't really, because it was inside a box, so you couldn't see that on the envelope. But you fell for the trap. And then once you opened it, then it put you under the other spell. Oh, I owe this. No, it was never to you anyway. It was to your corporation. You know, it was to your corporation anyway, to the all caps. You know, so it was, you don't know who that is. So it's return to sender, addressee unknown. I don't know who that's addressed to. You can't be answering to that. Or you can open it up and ask and write down, you know, can you tell me what language this is? And get them to clarify exactly what they're doing. You know, they don't like people asking questions. That's why the conditional acceptance is so powerful. Conditional acceptance is your way through this mess without getting into any trouble. You know, because you're remaining in honor. You're with the clean hands. You're the one with the clean hands. Like, you know, like I said when I went to the court, you know, can I see the correct sentence, which communication, farce, syntax, grammar of the act or statute that you're applying for the avoidance of perjury? I wasn't asking for anything wrong. I was simply asking, yeah, what you say I'm doing or I've got to answer to, I can't understand anything. I don't understand anything what you're saying. So let me see it in this format so that I can see what it says, exactly what it says, and know exactly what it says, and give you an answer. Because if I was to give you an answer to anything else, then I would be perjuring myself. That's if I need to answer. First, I need to check to see whether I actually need to give you an answer. What is it you say I've done wrong? Where's the victim? You know, where's the victim? Who's the one that's claiming over that I've done something or I've got him a contract with him? You know, where's the contract? Or are you saying I'm your bitch? Am I your slave or something? I don't recall ever getting branded by you or anyone's ever trying to sell me. I'm afraid. Sorry, mate. No, nobody sold my ass, so I ain't no slave. And I got no contract with you. And if you've got no contract, then we've got no business here. There's no business to be done here today. You know? So anyway, four-corner rule, yeah. The four-corner rule, it's like you say, I mean, when you just see on that actual thing, when you start to break it down into the simples, you say they're the simples, but they're the first points. These are the first points to establish before you go any further. Before you get brought into any argument, you know, that's the main thing about, like, you know, when you're in this position, you're already in that argument state. And he said, she said, and they fucking that, and I fucking, and they did this and all this. Like, whoa, 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 whoa. You're getting stressed out for no reason here. First things first, if this wasn't there, you wouldn't be talking about that. So don't you think we should find out whether that's there first? Let's go to the bit. For something to be, there has to be a beginning. Something had to start, there has to be a spark that started that fire. Yeah, so what's the spark that had to be there? Let's find the spark. The spark is on anybody that's in a court case. It's very simple, isn't it? Let me see the case management file, because on that case management file, I don't want all the nonsense. And then one of all the arguments, but don't interested. All I want is the beginning, the very, very beginning, which would have been the application form that obviously had an attachment with an affidavit or police statement or some information that was laid, that was created in this court case, the proceedings that you will be issuing to me, and then the receipt to say that it's been filed. That's it, that's all. Because if that ain't there, like I say, you've got a cup of coffee, but you haven't, you've got a cup of water, because there's no coffee in it. And you haven't got a court case because there's no casement file, so there can't be a court case, just the same as it can't be a coffee. And if they can't see that, and if you can't see that, I don't know how else to help you. I mean, what can you say? You can't call something, you can't say, I'm a living, breathing man and I've got no blood in my veins. I wouldn't be living or breathing, would I? So I can't be, one cannot exist without the other. Okay, just like if there's no governed, there cannot be any government, because one cannot exist without the other. There's got to be someone being governed for there to be a government. So they coexist, they've got to be together. And that goes the same with your court case, with a casement file, because it hasn't got a casement file, it ain't a case. Very simple. Very, very simple, mate. Yeah. This is just my thoughts. I'm just sharing my thoughts, and hopefully them thoughts will resonate with you. And hopefully the way I'm putting it across may resonate with the people that are less on the journey of understanding how we've all been deceived. Hopefully it'll tie in with the journey that's so far, the beginners as well as the intermediates. Well, Gavin, buddy, God bless. Because that's what I'm really speaking to, because that's who we need to be speaking to. It's our fellow brothers and sisters, because the only thing is, right, it's very simple when you look at it. The only way that these people can be doing these things is because some people are allowing them to. And it's not that they're allowing to because they enjoy it. I can assure you, no one likes being taken to the court. No one likes having their children taken off them. No one likes having their house taken off them. So it's not because they're enjoying it. It's because they lack the knowledge or the questions to ask. They lack the knowledge of the right questions to ask. It's like I said before, you can be fooled. If you don't know what a real thing looks like, you can be fooled into believing that thing is real when it's not. The real thing is the real thing. There's a difference. Yeah. Hope you have good ones. Well, I don't know what I said, but yeah. So the importance of the course is one of the vital things, if you think about it, guys. Because if we are ever going to get justice, then it's going to either be done by a lynch mob or by, it would be good to have some form of court, wouldn't it? It would be good to have some form of open-aired, for the world to see court systems. That's the way it should be, not the court systems that they have closed in. No one can film, no one can, open into the air for the world to see and to judge the judges of the case, to make sure that they're being fair and honourable. They wouldn't like that, wouldn't they? Eh? If people could see what was going on in the courts, really. There's a reason why they don't show people that. Because if they did, they'd all be like, it's a bit like what Henry Ford said about people, and if people understood about money, there'd be a revolution overnight. The family courts are stopping me from seeing my child. Could you possibly help? The video I played earlier, Mickey, there's a video I played earlier. go and do the live. I did a live feed earlier. I did a bit of talking through it while he was explaining it. It was Guy Taylor explaining it. He's nailed it. He's nailed what is, you know. So if they're trying, still trying, you no problems. You'll stop them. But stop it, you know, stopping them, making them give back once they've taken it's a different ball game. It's a lot more difficult. Or as the saying goes, yeah, it's easier to keep yourself out of trouble than get yourself out of trouble when you're in it. And that's what I'm finding difficult, because that would mean that they would have to admit that they've done it wrong. And to get that system to admit it's done wrong when, you know, it's difficult. Even though you can prove it, you know. That's what I'm saying. The importance of courts. You know, of having some form, some structural that we the people must be in control of. We've got no option but to be in control of it, and that's why we need to be more observant and what's been going on, because we've all been asleep at the wheel. We've all been put under a trance to be, you know, not to have a finger on the point, seeing what's going down, really going down around us, and how we've all been allowing ourselves to be deceived because we didn't know what the truth was. So, and anybody who tries to get it out there gets attacked, you know, and they go around and slandering it. I'm sure some of you have heard the slanders about myself. As what's it, James P. Wickstrom used to say, like, you only get enemy fire when you're over the target. Okay, got more bits to go with the counter deed. Yeah, I'll have a chat. He sent to me, but the missus is out with my phone, so he gave me his phone number. He sent me his phone number, but I didn't get a chance to call him today. But I will do, because it'll be a good one. We're having a chat on Thursday, so that should be if there's one on Thursday. Be interesting. But be nice to throw some inspirations out there, ideas out there, should I say, whatever. Get some ideas out there, and let's see if anyone can challenge them or better them, or you know, improve on them, or if they needed to be done anyway. You know, that's the point, isn't it? It's all about throwing those ideas out there. It's like I say. I mean, think about it, guys. I mean, regardless to whatever you think of what your all capitals name is, regardless to any of them, right? Yeah, we understand how they've been doing what they've been doing by classing that all caps as a corporation. So, you know, to step up as a man is the only way to be heard. Well, there is a second way of being able to be heard by them in their own words, and that was by you being the director of that corporation. Now you can have a say for what the corporation says. They couldn't hear you because they're a corporation. Corporation can't contract with a man, so you have to contract with the corporation, with your corporation, because they won't hear you as the man, but they'll hear you as the director that's directing your corporation. Should do. Whether they still ignore that or not, you mate, you tell. I mean, the thing is, it's there, isn't it? This is so powerful. Knowledge, thank you. Yeah, well, it's there. I mean, it's listen. Once you listen. No one owns the truth. Nobody owns the truth, do they? I didn't own the truth. If that's the truth, that isn't me that's telling you. I'm just telling you I'm just telling you a way. If it turns out to be true, you know, to me, it's like, of course, that's exactly what they're doing. That's exactly what's been going on. So that's exactly how we can deal with it too, and take control. Take control of what they've been in their own crazy world been doing, you know, which has been fleecing that, and you can bring everything back. So take everything back off them, and get your trust. You know, if that's what's happened, then you can put it all back. You need to be made whole. You know, because you're, according to their 1666 SQV or whatever it be, that if that be the truth, then, you know, they're saying that they've been, you know, it's been abandoned. Well, you're here now. You're here now, and I want to see the books, and I want to see who's been dabbling in it, and I want everything returning, because you've been harvesting that. Just like imagine, the other way of saying it is like this. Imagine I walk out of my house now, yeah, and I go down and I fall over and I twat my head, and I get amnesia. And I jog off, I walk off, like, yeah, and none of it. Like 7 years later, 8 years later, right, yeah, no, sorry, 7 years later, somebody comes in this house, they'd noticed I'd gone missing, and they'd put a claim in for it, yeah. As soon as it's, you know, saying, oh, he's gone, it's my house, he left it to me, and they're saying nothing you can do with that house until 7 years, until he's dead, until, you know, until he doesn't come back. And then 7 years comes up and they go in there and they start taking things out of the house and all this lot. And then the 8th year, I come back to my senses, realise where I am, and come back to my property. Are you saying that I've now lost it because I got amnesia for 8 years? No, it's still mine. So whatever therefore has been taken off you because you had amnesia, enforced and induced by the indoctrination system that we were all put through, now you've come back to your senses. You've had amnesia all this time because you just didn't realise what was going on, and they tricked you and deceived you and withheld all this information from you. And now you're back to your senses and you're requesting the information, but not as a man, as a corporation, as your own corporation. Now you're the daddy corporation, just like their daddy corporation. You're not a child corporation that they created that wasn't in control of this corporation. Now you're in control of your own. You're the director. That's the same, isn't it? Like for like, innit? No man's above another man, so no man's corporation can be another man's corporation, can it? It's equal, isn't it? Eh? Equal, eh? Is it not equal? Equal in what? It's only equal in what? It's equal in knowledge, isn't it? You know, when they know more knowledge than you, then it's a different format, isn't it? But when you've all got equal knowledge of understanding exactly what things could be and how it should be and how it could be, it should be, would be, could be done, couldn't it? And therefore people could access to their trust and they could be making their heaven on earth. And they had all the funds to do that anyway within that trust, if that was the way it was going to be. Like I say, I'm not saying it's there, I'm not saying it's not there. You know, at the end of the day, be interesting to find out, because I hear some people have got access to it, some people haven't, there are people that do go in the private, or whatever the case may be. If it's cool. I better shoot now, no. Just decline that, I'll go back into that in a second. So yeah, I've got another call, so I'm going to shoot off anyway. But anyway, hopefully that, hopefully it resonates with a few of you guys. And like I say, I mean, with the first bit was about, John Cleese and his bit of a chat. Just goes to show you, because that's what I'm saying about. That's the logics of it all, like, yeah. Because that's what happened. I mean, when you look at it, it's like down to that. It's like the xenophobics. These people with all the money, they want it's like mine. They don't want to share. They don't want to share, you know. And they, and that's the way they are. That's why they kept us always stupid. Now, we don't want to educate them in a way that they can think for themselves. Yeah, and that's what we didn't do. And they gave us everything to stop us, like games and bread and circuses, and pain and torture and torment and deception and lies, everything that they could to screw you up, like, and keep you out from realizing what the game was. Anyway, on that note, love you, leave yous. God bye for now. God bless. Keep smiling.